Let's go, boy.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us and listening in while you're on the road, cleaning the house, working in the garage, whatever it may be that you are doing. This is episode 2. Seems like some of you really enjoyed the quick rundown podcast last week, so we figured let's keep it going.
Let's get gritty, everybody.
All right, let's start with the broadcast of Race Day Live. At this time, rumors online were spreading like wildfire about people being turned away if they were to bring a sign in, so they made some sort of rule at the stadium, no signs permitted. Most, or should I say many, speculated this was because of the drama going on with Leigh and Ricky Carmichael and Daniel Blair in regards to the Truth video that was dropped prior to the race and weekend by Daniel on his main event Moto channel. One person did happen to get away with sneaking one in and even showcased it in the background of Race Day Live as host AC and Justin Brayton were speaking with Steve Mathis. Daniel has seen it and recently acknowledged the moment where it was pretty much snuck in because it was on body. But on a serious note, we are still left to hear, see, or read any statement in response to Daniel's allegations from Ricky or Diffie. Do you think they will ever speak out? If so, when and where would they do it? And how?
Honestly, I don't think they really even have to. Maybe for the good of Ricky, he should probably have something said, probably via X, I guess. I doubt he would do anything on his podcast or anything. And Leigh Diffie, he's definitely not going to say anything. He is higher up, and I mean, it's not even worth talking about anymore. After signing the deal with NASCAR, it's just, he doesn't have to deal with it.
With me being a sneaky bitch, I do know Ricky Carmichael has not touched his X account, so I will say I believe he is not going to make a statement throughout X or any social media. If anything, I think they will do it jointly together, probably hiding behind NBC or some sort of management broadcast company or whatever. I think that's the only way they would do it. So it's not them really admitting to it. Just a small little statement, just to hush up the fans.
And another thing with Diffie also is he got absolutely roasted on his birthday. So is it really worth bringing it up again in a tweet or anything? Because then people are just going to tear him up for at least 3 to 4 days. Now, if he just is quiet about it, people are going to just forget, especially if he moves out of the sport.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Do we think Daniel dropping that video on Leigh Diffie's birthday, was that intentional? Or was it just absolutely coincidental?
Yeah, I mean, they had him plan to go on Race Day Live. So, I mean, unless, I don't know if it was going to make Diffie's day easier because it was his birthday weekend, but Probably not.
I don't know, but either way, I think it was pretty iconic in a touche way of Daniel. But personally, I don't think Daniel would do an attack verbally or in any way on purpose on someone's birthday. But it is weird. So I'm probably just going to say that once he found out it was his birthday and it dropped, he was probably like, well, it's too late. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know. Dude ruined my dream career in mainstream. And I don't know. Fuck him at this point.
I really don't think it was planned because, like I said, they offered him the spot on Race Day Live. So I think it just happened to be. And I guess it's one of those occasions when a lot of bad shit happens.
Karma.
Things just line up the way they do for a reason.
Yep.
So
Karma's a bitch.
maybe it was meant to be in that aspect.
So if you watched my previous video dealing with Leigh Diffie, we watched an interview where they pretty much asked him, did you have it easy going into the broadcasting booth, or was it hard to get into the job and position? And he pretty much was saying that, you know, he was manipulated, he was harassed, and he was told that you need to have tough skin, you don't belong here. Now, it's weird because that's pretty much what Daniel came out saying that Leigh Diffie and Ricky were doing to him. Either that is just repeated behavior, and it's true that Leigh Diffie did go through that too, and he shouldn't obviously be doing that to Daniel. Or is it he's lying and he tried to come out with that first because the interview was a year ago when he thought Daniel was going to probably say something in public. So last episode, we talked about RJ's very sweet moment and win. This past race in Indy, we witnessed the Rockstar Energy Husky rider race to fourth place position in the 250 East Coast West Coast Showdown. He was pretty solid throughout the heat race. In the main event, we saw him fall out of the top 10 in the early stages, trying to catch some footing, but had a strong, impressive comeback ride, climbing to the challenge, surpassing all those horrible ruts and the track changes. But he did overall end up in fourth with decent points to collect towards the championship title. So were we really shocked to see this outcome from RJ, or is it exactly what we expected?
That's a pretty good ride for RJ, really, for East-West. I mean, everybody was kind of all over the place. Definitely surprised, kind of, by Hammaker winning. VL holding up, but it was a loose track, so the track was a big challenge. Changed up everything a lot, and the shootouts are always a roll of the dice.
So the official results for the 250 East and West in Indianapolis was first place Seth Hammaker, second place Tom Vial, third place
Haiden Deegan.
fourth place RJ Hampshire, and fifth Juju Julian Beaumier. How do we feel about this top 5 overall?
I mean, it's a pretty good top prize about Seth, but at the same time, not. I mean, good for him to go from a factory ride to a privateer back to a factory as kind of like a fill-in rider. Said Tom is a champ, and like a sandy track, loose track, he's going to have the control. The whoops were kind of a joke. Having that little jump into it kind of just killed the momentum. And, I mean, Juju, decent. I mean, was it elbow or collarbone? I can't quite remember. So, I mean, everyone's just kind of probably bent about Deegan not winning.
What? I'd say, look, this order, I don't like it. Shouldn't be that way, okay? Juju should be at least second or third. Haiden obviously should be first place. RJ, I would say, I like him, so we'll give him fourth. But Tom Vial, I would expect him in fifth, honestly. He's not really... he's not good in the whoops, and he's not as fast and as memorable as last year.
But what about Forkner going to LCQ? And I'm not even sure where he finished in the end. If he was he around 8th, 10th? I don't even know.
Yeah, he had it pretty rough. And he's grown on us. He was honestly one of the fastest riders I remember being out there. But just like Adam Cincerillo, always has injuries or has a really chronic problem that stems from an injury. And recently they've been talking about how they don't know what to do at this point. They wanted to give him a ride with Triumph and see how it goes. He had some crazy brain surgery not that long ago, but it's taking a hit. I think a lot of people are kind of like, I don't think he's going to bounce back.
Well, it's a lot to bounce back, too. Like you said, I think when you really started watching a lot, was it 2018, 19, maybe a little bit after? I don't know. Like you said, Faulkner was winning. And
So what I was going to say about Tom Vial, I will also be dropping a video regarding him and KTM this Saturday, so make sure you come back and check that out. I know this doesn't really matter, but I feel he is too quiet off the track, and it kind of affects his career and status. It shouldn't, but honestly, I feel it does. He gets forgotten when the dude is typically a champ. Management needs to, I guess, step that up. But the only other thing I know about him and his personal life off the track is that he is always liking Jorge Prado's sister's photos on Instagram. Like, I am not even kidding. But that's about it. The skill and the talent is very always appreciated and respected, but personalities is what also makes things enjoyable with the sport to watch and be entertainment. So in that department, I think he lacks. But also on the track, he is always forgotten.
yeah, a lot of the foreign riders, I don't know. I feel like if they're quiet, it's kind of easier for them. Especially the French riders. If they're kind of loud and outspoken, they come off as divas. Like Dylan Ferrandis. Like, we like him, but sometimes he sounds like he's bitching when really he just wants his bike a certain way because, the French got a flow.
Oui. So this brings me to another 250 rider, Julian Beaumier. So him and Deegan were expected to be neck and neck, side by side, back and forth, and have this feud on track because it was supposed to replace him and Levi's. But we haven't really seen much about that. Juju is kind of calm when Deegan does start doing some taunting and stirring the pot. But I don't know, maybe that chillness and that main focus, showing that he will not retaliate, just kind of made it dead in the water. But Haiden does have that dog in him, and he's half Brian Deegan. So he has Metal Militia blood descent in him. And he's a little shitster. And he does well when he talks shit. So hopefully we see him back in that. But I do really wish we would see a real true battle between those two.
Oh, as you know, I was going for Juju. But with the injury and everything, I feel like he just hasn't been up to speed for sure. If he was, I think he'd have a chance. Because Deegan, honestly, kind of struggles when he doesn't have the start. He'll get a decent finish. Podium is good finish, but
do you think the shit talking was taking it too far?
No, I don't know. I think he was just somebody, that's how he was raised. Like you said, Juju kind of doesn't really react because he was a pro jet ski rider too, so he's been around the scene with people. He knows how to act.
True. And Deegan really doesn't need to talk smack to back up his riding. We all know he's gonna be one of the greats, in my opinion. He's skilled, he's talented, and deep down through videos that we see him in his everyday life, he seems pretty down to earth and good-hearted for the most part, and actually more mature than most people give him credit for. So this season, it seems like he's off to a shitty start, honestly. Do you think he's ever going to recover, or this is just going to be a season known as one of his worst?
Like you said, he's one of the best talents out there. He's fast. He's just got to figure it out, kind of like Jet did. He's not hitting the ground like Jet did all the time, but once he really gets those starts locked in and figures that he doesn't have to push it as hard as he does to go faster than other people, he'll do it. And like you said, he is more mature than people think. I think he's just been raised around bros and kind of doing whatever he wants, but you can tell he's got like a good head on his shoulders still.
Which brings me to Yamaha Star Racing. Why are they so damn good this year?
It's years. How long has it been? That's kind of my question to other teams. Like, how is this 250 Star Yamaha that much better than everyone else's bikes? They got good riders and stuff, but Max is doing good on it. Anyone that rides a Star Yamaha does great. 250. It's been over 5 years of that 250. Just everybody talks about it. Like, let me just ride one, see what it's really about.
Then what is your opinion about KTM and its new changes?
What, going to China? That sucks, kind of.
China.
Honestly, I'm more sad about Husqvarna probably shutting down again. That's just one of my all-time favorite brands. Like, my dad had one. It's just one of the old bikes.
Jumping to 450, let's talk a little bit about Malcolm Stewart. Mookie! So everybody keeps saying the same question. Is he going to be this one-hit wonder? Is it only because all the top riders are out that he's doing good? We all know that it is in their family blood to do well on the track. I'm going to say I think he's going to get a lot of podiums, but not another win.
Old man James is only good at walking the track. Let's be honest now. Come on. No, I think Stewart, like, once he won, it definitely ignited something in him a little bit. Maybe got his mind off fishing a little bit, even though he mentioned it. It probably made him think, like, yeah, I can hang. And I mean, he's been he's been in the top 5 again, and he was another podium after that. So that's pretty good. So if you're in the top 5 or podium positions, you definitely have a chance to win, because Chase Sexton's in front of you. He's just going to tuck the front.
And look, what I mean is, I hope we do see another actual win from Stewart, but sometimes it's all up to chance. Also, we have to remember, just because you're fastest in qualifying and had no errors while you were riding in the race doesn't guarantee a win. He will definitely be getting more in the future, but I don't know about making him a champ this season. So in Indy, we saw this track turn into an absolute disaster and mess. Do we feel the 450s are causing a little too much of ruts and problems?
It could be that in the sand tire, like some people have said. It could be the track building too, but a long time ago when they built the 4-strokes, they started with 400s to compare with the 252 strokes. And then once they started modifying the 400s and get 426s and then like lightening them up and getting better, higher revs and 450s, obviously they're way faster than the 250s, and they're just torque. So they're just ripping the track apart. And then match that with the sand tire, it's just eats them up. So even if it is somewhat the track building, the bikes are obviously just eating the tracks up. Nobody can race 250 2-strokes, which everybody kind of wants. So you could do an in-between class. I think you need to somehow convince the companies to build like a 300 or a 350 4-stroke. That's all you need. The 450s are so overpowered. I mean, yeah, you can still build the 500s and stuff, but as far as racing. So then you could bring 250s back in, 2-strokes, and actually have them maybe compete. It'd be interesting, and it would mix it up.
If we do that, can we please call it the In-Betweeners? Please?
Let us know in the chat, because I feel like if you were to go to a 300 2-stroke to match up with 450s, it's just, I don't know if they could do it. I feel like 450s need to go down a little bit, and it would help the tracks. And people really, like we said, they don't need that much power. Yeah, if you're going out to the dunes and all that, get a 450 or a 500. If they start building a 350, then, build a 500 for the next step up.
I wanted to bring this up because we're seeing so many crazier injuries. I don't know. I just feel like this season has been the worst, where we have I think 3 guys out with a punctured lung because their ribs were cracked.
What?
And then we have also there's 3. There's actually another 3 with back injuries, where, it can be really scary that you could lose your functions and just be paralyzed.
Well, it's a tough sport, lady. That's why it takes a certain few to really do it. That's why it's kind of surprising to see some of the people, like, their attitudes. You wouldn't think that they're as tough as they are, but to get to hurt yourself and know how to handle it, I think it has to do with the tracks a little bit. Obviously, they're going really fast, and it's just a split decision, or something happens and you crash. It's just like football season. Sometimes it's like half the team goes down with injuries. It's just an individual sport, so more people are down.
When you mean like riders that don't seem tough, are you talking about Chase Sexton? Wee!
Yeah, the Avril Lavigne guy.
I think they really need to work on finding the right mixture. I do agree that these tracks are getting changed up so many times, and they're doing it different ways now. We're always hearing about the whoops and how some are steamrolled and some are just heavy packed. I don't know. But I do think that and having so much power at the same time, and these bikes are going faster and faster every year, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more dangerous accidents.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to see somebody get hurt. Like, it's going to happen every 5-10 years. It's going to happen. All the more that people need to look into why these guys need to get paid a lot more than what they get paid. I said it's kind of an individual sport as far as who's hitting the ground. Your mechanic ain't hitting the ground, and your sponsors aren't hitting the ground. You could, like she said, be in a wheelchair, gone, whatever. So you should be getting paid just as much as these football players.
That also makes me bring up the Cooksey argument, where we see all these incidents with the tough blocks, whether they're just smacking into them, they're in the way, and we also have where the banners on them get tied up in their tires and such.
Oh, shit.
I really don't think
again.
they're serving any purpose besides advertisement. And Cooksey had brought up these other types of, I don't want to say tough blocks, but same concept.
They're like paneled doghouses, pop out little paneled doghouses. I'm sure they've seen them. I think it was in the WSX he was talking about them. And another thing he had talked about was that supposedly the sponsors pay for certain spots that the camera's actually going to show. So certain blocks might be in certain areas. It might be a bigger block next to the whoops because they know they're going to show that section. Like a bigger block next to the whoops doesn't make sense because you need a little room in case you run off. Stuff like that doesn't make sense.
I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer. It's just we need to have better safety and regulations in this sport. I want to see these riders live their dreams out, race, win. I want to be able to watch and enjoy that as well. So if they are getting hurt, it doesn't serve purpose or good for anybody, you know? What we really want to have an open discussion about is better safety, better quality, so everyone could keep this sport alive. So make sure you tell us in the comments down below how you feel about those topics and also about the in-betweeners. If the 450s are just way overpowered. And we will see you in another episode real soon. I'm Pretty Gritty.
And I'm Nitty Gritty. Come check me out at Nitty Gritty's Garage.
See you soon.